I am just ahead of the curve. Woo! It is Tuesday night. Tuesday night live. Oh, let me tell you, let me tell you, let me tell you, let me tell you, let me tell you. I didn't plan on going live tonight, but I just had to do this one right here. What's going on, Dr. J? I see you, my brother. I see you. What's happening, Ron Matthews? What's going on, Flames 2.0? What's up? 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 Oh, you think? Do you guys think that I was gonna sit out on this one? Do you guys really believe that I was just gonna sit back and allow this right here to just pass me by? No, 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 no. There is no way on God's green earth that I was just going to sit back and just watch all of the news reports come in. Politico, USA Today, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, the Young Turks. The list goes on and on. YouTubers, black YouTube, white YouTube, green YouTube, all YouTube. What's up? The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, my brothers. The Supreme Court is speaking right now. Oh, it's not official yet. It is not official yet, but in a few weeks, it's going to be. There's a strong possibility that in a few weeks it's going to be official. What's going on, Dr. Tree 33? What's going on, Spec Streaming? What's going on, Hybrid Ninjas? Hey, if you brothers can hear me loud and clear, just put that one in the chat so I know that you hear me loud and clear. This is the Mad Professor. This is the Mad Professor. And this is another Mad Professor broadcast. And y'all see the title right here. Y'all see the title and y'all see the thumbnail. Woo! The most powerful court in the land, the most powerful body assembled in the United States of America. Nine justices. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. 9 justices. Man, I tell you, and you see the whole world is up in arms. Oh, all of America is up in arms. Oh my God, the feminist lobby, boy, they are pulling the hair from the roots of their heads. The feminist lobby is pulling hair from the roots of their heads. The gynocracy is going crazy. Y'all know the liberal black women. The liberal black women right now, boy, they sitting home, they drinking bottles of wine, trying to cope. So, oh my God, what are we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? Oh my God, oh my God. I just couldn't let this pass. What's going on, Dennis Park? What's going on, Excalibur? I see you, brothers. Man of Steel, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? This is the Mad Professor broadcast. This is the Mad Professor broadcast. And you doggone right. We're gonna talk about this thing tonight. Oh, we're gonna talk about this, the possibility. This might be the beginning. This might be the beginning, brothers, of a major shift in the United States of America. And boy, I tell you, I tell you, I tell you, this means a lot, not just for women. We framed this thing about abortion in this country. Roe v. Wade has been framed primarily around a woman's right to choose. It has been framed primarily around a woman's right to do whatever the hell she wants to do with her body. That's right. Yeah, even if it means the aborting of millions, tens, 20s, 30, 40, 50 million, 60, 100 million babies over the last 50 some odd years. We're talking about a half century. We're talking about a half century, my brothers. Oh my God, 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 my God. We're talking about a lot right here. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And this means a lot for black men. This means a lot. It means a lot for black men. And you brothers, you better, as the late David Carroll said, you better put on your helmet and you better tighten up that chin strap. Because if you are not prepared for this shift, the winds of change are gonna blow your behind away. They're gonna blow your behind away. Let me get up in here, man. Let me get up in here. What's going on, brothers? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Y'all see the news. Y'all know the news. We live in an information age. We live in an information age. I've said this to you on my past live stream about 3 weeks ago, that we live in a time of globalization, and all you have to do is with a click of your mouse. All you have to do with your Android. I got my trusted Android right here. With your Android, with your iPhone, with whatever your preferred technology is, your source of communication, whatever it may be, all you have to do is with a search, you can find out everything that you need to know about what's going on right now, what is happening right now. And I'm gonna get right down it. I'm gonna get right down into the nitty gritty, the nitty gritty. And what is the nitty gritty? Okay, this is the nitty gritty. These people who are on the right, these conservatives, these Republicans, these political people who are not liberal, who are non-liberal, and what have you, these people ain't playing. These people are not playing. They're not playing. They're not playing. I've been studying these people for a long time. I said this before to you guys when I did my stream on Candace Owens. When I did my stream on Candace Owens 2 weeks back, and I've said this in other streams, but most recently it was my Candace Owens streams. I said this. I've been studying these people for a long time. And if there was one thing that you need to know about these people who I'm talking about the right. I'm talking about political conservatives at every level. I'm talking about politicians. I'm talking about people in corporate America. I'm talking about media. I'm talking about at every level, ordinary citizens. One thing that you need to understand, my guys, one thing that I want black men to understand, because you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot from these political conservatives. And I'm going to make it clear, I'm going to continue to make it clear that this platform right here, this platform is about independence. Independence. BMI in particular, black male independence. And I'm going to say this again and again and again till I can't say it anymore. When we say independence, it means that we are politically, we are ideologically, we are philosophically independent. We are not beholden two political liberals, the Democratic Party, and we are not beholden. Black male independence is not beholden to political conservatives, the right. We have an independent streak, a independent spirit, because we don't cast our lots with any particular political party. And the reason why we don't do that, okay, because politics at the end of the day is about your political interest. Interest. It's not who's in power. It's not what party is in power. It's about interests. That's what matters. Now, let me get into this. Let me say what I'm getting at right here. These political conservatives, they play a long game. These political conservatives, they play political football. These political conservatives, they believe in winning. They believe in winning. They believe in winning. We may think that these people really care at certain levels about morality, and they have a history. Political conservatives have had a history of moralism in terms of family, in terms of sexual politics, in terms of all things about morality. Okay, at a surface level, they have given us the appearance, and even with this issue right here, Roe v. Wade, there is the appearance of morality, and we're going to go deeper. We're going to go deeper into Roe v. Wade, because Roe v. Wade, you can't just look at Roe v. Wade in terms of morality. And what is the point that I'm making right here? These people play political football. They play a long game. The struggle, Roe v. Wade. I was born in 1973. I was born in the same year that the Supreme Court at that particular time rendered that landmark decision with respect to that case, Roe v. Wade. That is the year that I was born. And here we are, fast forward. I am 48 years old. I will be 49 in September. We are close to 50 years after this particular ruling. And within that window of time, political conservatives have been staunchly opposed to that Supreme Court decision, and they have worked decade after decade after decade, generation after generation after generation. Let me tell you something, guys. Disease don't know what's going on. The disease barely even have a clue. The disease, Gen Z, those jokers that were born since 2000, those jokers that were born since September 11, 2001, 9/11, the disease, Generation Z, and now you got Generation Y coming behind them. They hardly got a clue. They hardly got a clue as to what is going on, and they hardly got a clue as to what this particular situation that we're in 2022. This is May the 3rd, 2022. As I record, it is approximately 6:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They hardly have a clue. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all share. Y'all subscribe. Get the likes up. Y'all share. Y'all subscribe. Those of you all who have been in the shadows, I need you all to support this ism. This ism. If you want to donate, you can donate via super chat. You can send a super sticker, and you can also donate support Cash App. Cash App $ BMI 3000. Cash App $ BMI 3000. I'm going to tell you something. These people don't give up. They don't give up. They don't give up. They don't give up. They made their mind. They made up their mind a long time ago that they were going to do everything within their power to overturn Roe v. Wade. And with every president, every Republican president, and not just Republican president, but with every administration, okay, since 1973, all right? Gerald Ford, right after Nixon. Since that particular time, guys, they've been fighting. And what that means is that they play a long game when it comes to politics. These people are not interested in immediate victories. These people don't play in terms of just short-term stuff that just happens overnight or whatever. No. These people play a long game. And what this means is that these conservatives, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna give them credit for it. I'm gonna give them credit for it because the liberals don't do that. The liberals, the Democrats, the liberals, that's their fundamental weakness. That is the fundamental weakness of political liberalism. That is the fundamental weakness of the Democratic Party, is that the Democratic Party, political liberalisms are primarily driven by immediate gratification. Immediate gratification. Okay? They live in the moment. These people live in the moment. Okay? They only are concerned with one election to the next. That's all they're concerned with at every level. What we're talking about presidential elections, we're talking about elections at the state level. They are only concerned about what's in front of them. You see what I'm saying? And we see this right now. We see this right now with the political liberals because right now they are on edge. They are on edge. They don't know what they're going to do. You have the midterms that are coming up in the fall. You've got the midterms across the United States, and the midterms are going to be very, very interesting because the midterms will represent a moratorium. It's going to be a moratorium on the Democratic Party. It's going to be a moratorium. The midterms that are coming up, that are around the corner, is going to test the Democratic Party. It's going to test them to see if they're really about their life. If they are really about that life, are you really, 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 really about that life? Okay? That's what the midterms are going to demonstrate. It's going to be a moratorium. They're going to be examined. Thank you, Dr. Trey, Dr. Tree 33. Thank you for that 20. Thank you for that. Yes, we are giving you another edifying sermon. I am the Man Professor. This is the Man Professor broadcasting live from the state of North Carolina. It's a beautiful day. We're heading into summer. Oh, it's going to be an interesting summer. I don't know if it's going to be a hot girl summer. I don't know if it's going to be a hot girl summer, but it's going to be an interesting summer. An interesting summer, okay? These people are not playing. These people are not playing. They're not playing. They're not playing. They are ready. They've got their team ready. These political conservatives, they got their teams ready for 2022. Not only do they have their teams ready for 2022, the midterms, okay, they also got their teams ready for 2024. 2024. They got it. They got it. They got it. These people play football. It's football. It's football. You see, and people, you see, the liberals play. They sleep on these people. You can't sleep on these people. You cannot sleep on these people. The liberals, they sleep on these people. The people, the Harvard liberals, the Yale liberals, the Ivy League liberals, the liberals at the super expensive schools and all that kind of stuff. Some of the liberals on Wall Street, they sleep. They sleep. The Obama types, they sleep on them. The Kamala Harris types, they sleep on them. Joe Biden, he sleeps on them. They all get slept on. They all sleep on them. They all sleep on these political conservatives. You got the state of Texas, you've got Mississippi, you've got Kentucky, you've got Alabama, you've got South Carolina. You understand what I'm saying? You got Missouri. They got lots of the Midwest locked down. Oh yeah, we talking politics. We are talking politics tonight, and this is a lesson for black men. This is a lesson for black men. Black men, we not playing a short-term game, brothers. We not playing a short-term game, brothers. We playing a long game. We playing the long game. These people here, they trying to run this thing, and they are being successful. They are being exceptionally successful. And you know how successful they are? Do you know how successful they are? Let me tell you how successful they are. The federal courts, the federal judiciary, the federal courts are conservative right now. the federal courts are inundated with a conservative majority at the federal level. Okay? Okay? And they've made sure over the last number of elections, they've made sure that the federal judiciary at the federal level leans to the right. And not only did they make sure that the judiciary at the federal level is inundated with a conservative majority, they have ensured that the SCOTUS, the United States Supreme Court, the Supreme Court of the United States, leans to the right. It is a conservative majority. A conservative majority, okay? A conservative, 9 justices, the majority of them lean towards the right. These people are constitutionalists. They call them constitutionalists. The ones who are on the bench, they are constitutionalists. What do I mean by constitutionalists? That is that these people believe in the strict, literal interpretation of the United States Constitution. That's what they believe in. Their judicial philosophy is one of literalism, constitutionalism. What does that mean? What did the founders say? What did the founders say in the United States Constitution? What did they say? What did they say? And what was their intent? What did they intend? What did they say about the First Amendment? What did they say about the Second Amendment? What did they say about the Fifth Amendment? What did they say about the Sixth Amendment? What did they say about the Seventh Amendment? What did they say about the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the 15th Amendment? What did they say? What did they mean? And this is a real thing, you see. So you have a majority, and that is the fundamental weakness. That is the fundamental limitation of the democratic establishment. Once you have secured the courts, and this is why they have repealed. This is why they have repealed and gutted the Voting Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. This is why you have so many stipulations. This is why you have, in many states, this is why you have so many restrictions that have been placed on voting, because they own the federal courts and they own the Supreme Court. I got a book right here. I got a book right here that I've been reading. I got a book right here that I have been reading about the oldest, the longest serving justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. The longest serving justice on the United States Supreme Court. More than 30 years. More than 30 years on the bench. He is the personification. I'm talking about Clarence Thomas. He is the representation of constitutionalism. Constitutionalism, the literal interpretation of the law on the United States Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas. I am reading this book here. It's called The Enigma of Clarence Thomas by a political scientist by the name of Corey Robin. I'm reading this book in addition to other books about the U.S. Supreme Court and other books about this particular justice right here. And the stuff that I'm reading in this book right here is going into the book that I am finishing right now. So you understand that I got something to say about what's going on right now. So the political liberals have had plenty of opportunity. They've had plenty of opportunity. The feminists, the people on the left, they have had plenty of opportunity over the last 4 decades. After the last 4 decades, to put in legal provisions at the state level in particular. At the state level, they have had plenty of opportunity to work at the state level to do whatever they feel they needed to do to protect their own interests in terms of law and policy. They've had ample opportunity to do that. They had ample opportunity during the Bush era. They had ample opportunity. When I say Bush, I'm talking about George W. Bush. They had ample opportunity under Bill Clinton, to ensure that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 would not be gutted and that it would not be threatened. They had ample opportunity. They had opportunity. They had an opportunity under the first Obama administration to do that, but they did not take that opportunity. They had an opportunity to get rid of the Electoral College. They had an opportunity to get rid of the Electoral College so that they could get the type of political outcomes at the national level that they desired. They've had the opportunity. And they did not take the opportunity. They sat back and they rested on their laurels. They just believed that somehow or another, the stuff that they did in 1971, 72, 73, and even 1965, they just fundamentally believed that everything that happened after 1965, between 1965 and 1980, they fundamentally believed that that stuff would be permanent. It would last forever. Y'all get the likes up. Get the likes up. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all share. Y'all subscribe. Y'all get this ism. I am the Mad Professor. And this is the Mad Professor broadcast. We are talking about staying strapped. Yeah, strapped. And that means condoms. We're talking about condoms, black man. Condoms. What we gonna get into it, brother? We gonna get into it. Condoms. Thank you, Gayagami. Thank you for that. That's right, brother. That's right. Greetings to you, my brother. BMI, BMA, BME, and let me add BMH, Black Men's Happiness. Thank you for that, my brother. Thank you. Let me be forthright and say this to you guys. I have my feelings. I'm somewhat of a neutral when it comes down to abortion. I'm a bit neutral. And the reason why I say that, I don't really have real super strong invested feelings in it. I do have some ideas about it and what have you, and have some concerns about abortion, and we're gonna get into that. And I will say to you, brothers, that me, the Mad Professor, could have very well been the casualty of an abortion. I will say that. I could have very well been the casualty of an abortion. What do you mean, Dr. Neal? My mama told me after she was in a long relationship with my father, whose name I bear. I'm a junior, guys. My father, his name is Ronald Neal. I bear my father's name. And my mother and father were not married. My parents were not married. My mother was in her 30s. She was 30 years old. And my daddy was around the same age. They were not married. They were both professionals. He's a doctor. He was getting out of med school, and my mama, she was a practicing nurse. A practicing nurse, man. A doctor and a nurse. A long time ago, once upon a time in the late 1960s and early 1970s, there was a doctor and there was a nurse who got together in Chicago. In Chicago, he was from the south side of Chicago and she was from southern Georgia. He was a graduate of Meharry Medical School and she was a graduate of Florida A&M University. And they were a couple. And they were a couple. He was a dark-skinned black man, and she was a light-skinned white black woman. Oop, not white, black woman. She was light. She was red. She was a red bone. My mama was a red bone. Pretty woman. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all share, y'all like, and y'all subscribe. And guess what? My mother and my father, they had entanglements. They had entanglements. Y'all know what the entanglements. And guess what? Guess what, brothers? Guess what? Somebody was conceived. Somebody was conceived. And that somebody, my guys, was me. It was yours truly. I was conceived out of wedlock. And my father, and this is the story I was told, my father did not want to have a child. He did not want to have a child. In fact, my father did not want to get married. He did not want to get married to my mother. Didn't. And my mama thought that they were going to get married. My mama thought they were going to be together and all that kind of stuff. And my father, he told my mother that he wasn't ready to be a father. And this was the story I got. This is the story I was told. I tried to get his side of the story when I was much older. I never really got his complete side of the story, but this is the story that I was told. He said he did not want. He said that he did not want. What's going on, Uncle Stu on the block? I see you, my brothers. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I see you. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. We're gonna kick it up. We're gonna do doggone thing. Y'all make sure y'all check out Uncle Stu, old man on the block. Y'all check out Uncle Stu. He's got that ism, that ism, that ism, that ism, that ism. Y'all check out Uncle Stu on the block. Blessings to you, my brother. Thanks for the support, my guy. My father told my mother that he wasn't ready to be a father. And he told my mother that he wanted her to abort the child that she was pregnant with. And as a matter of fact, he was a doctor. He was connected to doctors. And he told her that he could send her somewhere. He could send her somewhere to New York City, and he would have one of his friends do the abortion. And my mother, being the southern black woman that she was, she passed away back in 2017. Mama passed away. Peace and blessings to you, Mama. She passed away in 2017. Alzheimer's, complications from Alzheimer's. My mother, being the southern black woman that she was, being one out of 10 children, my mother being in a family system, a large family southern system where people value babies and children and all that kind of stuff. My mother said that she was not going to abort the child that she was carrying. She was not going to abort the child. She was not going to abort me. And when my mother made that decision to not abort me, that led to the dissolution of their relationship. That was the end. It was the end of that. It was the end of my mama and my daddy. They were no longer together again. And he was not really a part of my life after that. And so I grew up as an only child in a single parent household of a woman who chose not to abort the baby that she was carrying. Now, brothers, now. Am I happy that I'm here? Am I happy? Am I glad that my mama did not abort me? Am I glad? I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. I'm not particularly moved by the fact that my mother did not have an abortion. I'm not particularly moved. Have I enjoyed life? I love my mother. I loved her and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I love my mama. But I'm not particularly moved. I don't think that I'm some super special individual. Some people might think I have some gifts or what have you, and God bless you. And I don't have low self-esteem. I'm glad I'm here. I don't think I'm God's gift to the world. But has she gone through with it and did it? That's on her. She had to live with that. She had to live with that. Maybe I would have been incarnated. Maybe I would have came through somewhere else. Maybe, perhaps. Never know. So I don't have real strong. My sentiments are not that strong. I was her only child. My mother didn't have any more children after me. Okay. My mother had me when she was 31. I was born when she was 31 years old. My mother wasn't a fully employed person. She was a nurse. My mother did not pursue child support from my father. She did not support any support. My mother believed because she was at that particular time a nurse and she made good money. My mother believed that she can take care of a child all by herself. And guess what, guys? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? My mother was wrong. My mama was wrong. My mama tried to do it all by herself. My mama tried to do it all by herself, and guess what? For a short period of time, she was relatively successful in doing it. Okay, up until I got to a certain age, 7, 8 years old. But after that, it was rough. Okay, it was rough. My mama had a hard time raising me. And not because I was a booger bear or some hellion or some outlaw or anything like that. Two people, two people, two people, two people, me and her, both of us, me and her, two people, one income. Two people, one income. Two people, one income. Two people, one income. And I had family, I had cousins or what have you. I had aunts and uncles. She left Chicago. She went to Tallahassee, Florida, and I was born in Tallahassee. And I spent the bulk of my life in Florida with her side of the family. And her side of the family, my aunts, mainly women, and I had uncles. They were fragmented. I come out of a fragmented, fractured black family system. It's fragmented. My family system fragmented. So I wasn't one of these black guys or black children who grew up around this super cohesive tight village. I didn't grow up like that. I had wonderful aunts, great uncles. Most of the men in the family had hard lives. But it wasn't like that. So I understand from a personal perspective some of the politics around a lot of this stuff right here. But what I want to say about this, guys, what I want to say about this is that this is a very, very complex, it's a very, very layered type of issue. Very complex, very, very layered. And black men have a stake in this. We have a stake in this. We have a stake in this. It's not just about women, it's about men. It's about the decisions that we make. It's about the decisions that we make when we lay down. When we lay down. Thank you, Dr. J. The decisions that we make, that I make, that we make when we lay down with women. When we lay down. Because if we're impulsive, if we're caught up in our emotions, we do things that we will pay for in so many ways for the rest of our lives. For the rest of our lives. And we got a real problem. We got a real problem. I want y'all to look up the articles. Samuel Alito, one of the things that happened is that there was a brief that was leaked. It's all over the news. I'm not going to pull it up. There was a brief that was leaked, which had excerpts of Samuel Alito and what he had to say about Roe v. Wade. And in that briefing, he said something about Black America, and he said something about abortion in Black America. He talked about eugenics. He talked about the fact that we have documented tens of millions, at least 50 million abortions have taken place with respect to Black people in this country over the decades. 50 million aborted Black babies. 50 million. 50 million. And these are babies that have been aborted by Black women, the women that we sleep with, the women that we lay down with. Unwanted, unplanned pregnancies. Unwanted, unplanned pregnancies. And this is the first time, brothers, this is the first time that I can recall. This is the first time that someone at that level, we're talking about the Supreme Court. This is the first time in my lifetime, when it comes down to Roe v. Wade and abortions, that any Supreme Court justice has made reference to abortions among the Black population as a cause of concern for thinking about Roe v. Wade. The first time. Much of the abortion debate in this country and the back and forth between pro-life and pro-choice, much of that has been driven fundamentally by white women. It has been driven primarily by white women. The people on the pro-choice side, white women. The people on the pro-life side, white women. Fundamentally. So the issue of abortion in this country has been presented to us as the face primarily of a white woman. And now black women have had a lot to say about abortions. You can read the literature. The feminists, they've had a lot to say about abortions. The feminists call it reproductive justice. That's what the feminists, the black feminists call it reproductive justice. When you read black feminist literature and when black feminists talk about abortion, they call it reproductive justice. Choice, the ability to get rid of a child, they call that reproductive justice. They call it justice. That's what the black feminists call it. The right to terminate, the right to abort, they call it justice. But the black feminist argument and perspective has always been on the margins. It's always been on the margins. It's always been the perspective of the white women. Now, the black women, and there have been black women, and I just posted the video. I just posted a video of Angela Stanton King. Angela Stanton King. Y'all go check out the video that I posted of Angela Stanton King, who lives in Georgia, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. Angela Stanton King, and some of y'all know her. She once ran back in 2020. She ran for the congressional seat that was vacated by the late John Lewis. She ran for that seat in 2020 and she lost. And a part of her platform in running for that seat, and it was a very interesting platform, she ran as a supporter of Donald Trump. But one of the key features of her platform was abortion. Abortion, 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 pro-life. She has a pro-life position. And she went on the Breakfast Club and she articulated in a very, very eloquent, sophisticated way a pro-life position that I had never seen represented in public by any African-American woman. Any African-American woman. There are black women who are pro-life. But those black women who are pro-life tend to be on the sidelines. They tend to be silent. They don't say anything. And you can imagine why they don't say anything, because they are overwhelmed by the liberal feminist black women. But you do have black women who represent a pro-life position. And these women who represent the pro-life position, and there are men too, they come from a historical standpoint. They come from a historical standpoint when it comes down to this issue. And this is what Samuel Alito cited in this leak brief. Planned Parenthood, and I want y'all, if you guys are not familiar with the history of Planned Parenthood, y'all go ahead and dig up the history of Planned Parenthood. I told you, brothers. I told you, my brothers. We are in the information age. Google, Planned Parenthood. Thank you, D-Rock Den. Thank you for that contribution. Cash App $BMI, Cash App $BMI, Cash App $BMI, Cash App $BMI. Y'all share, y'all like, and y'all subscribe. Planned Parenthood is the organization that leads reproductive justice, that leads pro-choice in this country. And one thing that we know about Planned Parenthood, this organization called Planned Parenthood, is that most of the offices of Planned Parenthood, most of them are located in majority black areas. Most of them are located, if they're not in black areas, they're in areas where you have black people and Latino people. meaning that Planned Parenthood does not set up shop in white suburbs. Planned Parenthood does not set up shop among white ruling class. Planned Parenthood runs their operation out of the hood. Planned Parenthood runs their thing off of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard or Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Planned Parenthood. And you got to ask yourself the question, and this is what Judge Alito was getting at, and this is what Angela Stanton was getting at, and has been getting at. You all look at Angela Stanton. She has a YouTube channel. She's still talking to stuff. And by the way, when you look at that Breakfast Club interview, boy, she was on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne and Angela Yee and DJ Envy, and she was talking about her politics, and she was talking about her position. And she's a conservative. She's a black conservative. She is a black conservative. And let me tell you something. She smoked them jokers. Let me tell you something. She blew them out the water with her arguments, her perspective, her black conservative perspective. And here's the crux of the matter. Planned Parenthood is the child. Planned Parenthood is the child of the eugenicist Margaret Sanger, the eugenicist. We've talked about Margaret Sanger in our spaces, in our black men's spaces. We talked about Margaret Sanger. She was a part of what was called, at the end of the 1930s, it was called the Negro Project. The Negro Project. And eugenics is, let me say this about eugenics. When she was promoting this thing called eugenics, she promoted eugenics as a progressive. She promoted eugenics as somebody who was interested in progressive social change. She believed in evolution. And the eugenicists were concerned primarily with population control. Population control. The eugenics, targeted those populations in the United States who were seen as unfit, seen as inferior, seen as incapable of navigating society. Not just unfit, not just inferior, not just incapable, but seen as potential nuisances and threats to the then established order. And so the eugenicists were very, very concerned with getting rid of undesirable populations. And I don't have to tell you, at the late 1930s, we're talking about the moment of World War II. We're talking about we're still in 1939, we are still in World War II. We're talking about World War II. And there was a eugenics program that was in Germany. And you should know that the United States, the Jim Crow was a model for Germany during the World War II era. During Nazism. They wanted to get rid of the Jews. They wanted to get rid of the Jews in Germany, and they looked at how and those Nazis in Germany saw how America was handling the Negro, and they said, "Oh, this is it. This is what we do." So this is a white woman who was a part of an enterprise that saw itself as being progressive. And she took this program. We need to, too many Negroes, too many. I told y'all, here's the thing. I told you that my mother is from Georgia. My mother's family, Florida and Georgia. They were farm people. agrarian people. In the 1930s and 40s and even to the 50s, the vast majority of black people lived in the South. The vast majority of black people. Migration was happening to the cities, of course, but the bulk of your black population in the 1930s and 40s and 50s were in the South. They were in southern states. And the vast majority of black people were rural people. They were country people. They lived on the land. They were farmers. They were sharecroppers. They worked with their hands. And the bulk of the United States was rural. It was rural. It was agrarian. Industrialism had hit the South, but industrialism was still in competition with agrarianism. And one of the things that you saw in that world were humongous families. That is the one thing that you saw in the world, humongous families. My mother was one out of 10 children, one out of 10 children. And some of you guys who are listening to me, some of you guys who are my age, some of you guys who are older, some of you guys who are younger, you have similar backgrounds. There were black families. You have a man and a woman. They can have 10 children. They can have 12 children, 13 children, 15 children, living on a farm, working the land. One reason why they have so many children is because contraception was not readily available. That's one reason. That's one major reason. Contraception was not readily available. But the other reason why they had so many children is because the agrarian life necessitated labor. Children were laborers. They were workers. Children helped work the land. The children worked on the farm. That's what they did. And there was grinding poverty in the agrarian South. So that's why when we talk about these boys now and how we treat black boys and how black boys are neglected and all that kind of stuff, and how black boys at the age of 9 and 10 and 13 are told they have to go out and work. That has a long history, guys. That has a long history. It has a long history. Putting a black boy out in the field at the age of 8 years old, that was a regular occurrence in the Jim Crow South. You learn how to work as soon as you learn how to walk. So here's the thing. Margaret Sanger had this Negro Project. And Margaret Sanger wanted to tamper with the black population. This is social engineering. Let's get rid of it. We got too many blacks. They have too many babies. We can't have too many blacks, too many babies. We can't have these black people having too many babies because what's going to happen? If these black people reproduce and reproduce, the black population will compete with the white population, the dominant white population. We can go back to slavery. And the ending of the slave trade, one of the reasons why the slave trade ended here in the United States is because some of these southern states and some of these southern towns where you have plantations, you have populations of black people that were rivaling the populations of white people. So in states like Mississippi and South Carolina, parts of Virginia, the black population rivaled the white population. And he had to get a control over that. So the Negro Project was intended to control the black population. We were undesirable. And Margaret Sanger, y'all look at the story in the history, she hooked up with black preachers. She hooked up with the most educated black preachers of her day who would help her execute this thing called the Negro Projects, also known as eugenics. I live in the state of North Carolina. I live in the state of North Carolina. And there is a reparations movement here in North Carolina around eugenics. There's a reparations movement. The state of North Carolina had a eugenics program where they sterilized people. They sterilized undesirables. There are black women who are living right now in the state of North Carolina who were sterilized when they were teenagers, who were never able to have children. They were sterilized without their consent. Without their consent. So you have a story of a black woman who's having some medical issues. She goes see a doctor, physician, public health, or what have you for her medical issues. And the public health people, instead of just dealing with her medical issues, which have nothing to do with her reproductive system, they took it upon themselves, without her consent, in sterilizing her. Fannie Lou Hamer, the great activist, Fannie Lou Hamer, Mississippi. Y'all look up Fannie Lou Hamer from the Mississippi Delta. She worked with Kwame Ture. She worked with Martin Luther King Jr. She was a famous Mississippi activist. A sharecropper, the wife of a sharecropper. She was sterilized. She had her reproductive organs removed without her consent. I see we got a troll, we got a troll, we got a troll. Got to get you out of here, man. Get a life. Get a life. Get a life. Brothers, let's get out of here. Hold on, guys. I got to get these people out of here. Don't need you here. Anyway, so here's the thing. The black population has been depleted significantly over the decades. It's been depleted significantly over the decades because of this politics. You can't get around the history of eugenics. It's a very real thing. And let me just say this about eugenics. Eugenics was not simply eugenics. Eugenics was not simply applied to black people. It was also applied to white people. It was applied to immigrants. It was applied to a whole lot of people. So you had white eugenicists who were trying to get rid of not only undesirable black people, but they were also trying to get rid of undesirable white people, undesirable immigrants. And so, like I said, in the state of North Carolina, you have had black people who have sought legal action against the state of North Carolina for their eugenics program. Some have been compensated, some are waiting to be compensated. Population control. Now, I'm going to say more about this. I'm going to move forward. Population control. Outside of eugenics, now we have to talk about this. Beyond eugenics, in that sense, and some people talk about eugenics in two terms. There is what is called negative eugenics. Some people call it negative eugenics. Negative eugenics is when population control happens without consent. That's negative eugenics. When population control is imposed on a person or a population in a compulsory manner. That's negative eugenics. And then there's what they call positive eugenics. Positive eugenics. Positive eugenics is when people voluntarily engage in population control. Positive eugenics, when people sign up for it without being coerced, without being forced into it. That's positive eugenics. And much of the pro-choice side of this debate engages in positive eugenics. It's positive. They see it as a positive thing. Bill Gates is in Africa. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation right now is in Africa engaging in population control. And you can look up what the Gates Foundation is doing in terms of reducing populations in Africa. And the rationale is that there are going to be too many people in Africa within the next 100 years. And that there's going to be too much scarcity in Africa to sustain the kind of population that is coming. But here's the thing. Here's the part that nobody really wants to talk about. That you have to really look at when we talk about politics. And that is that the population, the dominant population in this country, guys, the dominant population in the United States, i.e. the white American population, the numbers, the white American population, their numbers have fallen. Right now, whites continue to be the dominant population. There are over 250 million white people in this country right now. But the dominant population, go back, look at it, look at the census, the most recent census. But their numbers are in the tank. Their numbers are in the tank. The white population is simply not reproducing right now in the fashion which it has in the past to keep up. And as the white population declines, as the white population goes down, other populations are going up. Other populations are going up. Other populations. And you guys, I want you put in the chat. I want you guys to put this in the chat. If you can, I want you all to tell me which group in the United States, is rising in terms of its numbers. Put that in the chat. Y'all put in the chat. If y'all know the group in the United States whose numbers are increasing exponentially by the day, if any of you guys know the group in this country who demographers are saying for the last 10 years, demographers have said that by 2050, demographers have said by 2050 that there is one singular group of people in the US whose population will surpass the white population. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Last year I did videos on the what I call the Latina future. Last year I did a video. You can go in the archives. There's a video I did called the Latina future, and it's based on this. The demographers are telling us that the Latino people, we're talking about Cubans, we're talking about Mexicans, we're talking about Dominicans, we're talking about Puerto Ricans, we're talking about people from Venezuela, people from Colombia, people from all over Central America. We're talking about people from Peru. We're talking about people from Argentina. We are talking about the Spanish-speaking world. That the people who speak Spanish from various parts of South America, Central America, and the Caribbean, and Mexico, they are going to represent the dominant population in the United States. The dominant population. They are going to surpass the white population in America. And some of you guys are going to see this in your lifetimes. And I don't have to tell you guys. I see it happening here where I am. It's happening in Arizona. It's in Texas. It's in Illinois. Of course, it's in Florida. It's in California. It's in New York, the state of New York. It's in Tennessee. It's in Georgia. These people are growing and growing and growing and growing. And when you study this group of people, what you see, the one thing that stands out with this group of people is the value of family. The family unit, the family structure. A man and a woman with children. And these people are playing as a team. They're in business. They're in construction. They're in the restaurant business. They're in the cleaning business. They work in hotels. They're in academia. They're in politics. They're everywhere. And slowly but surely, they're working silently, and they're building right now with soft power. They're building soft power right now. Most of the Latinas or Latinos, most of them tend to be Catholic. They are strong. They are very conservative. They are very socially conservative. They are socially conservative. Some of them are Protestants. And as they ascend, they're going to touch politics. They're going to touch politics, and they are going to shape law and policy in the United States. And so these people who are the people who are pro-life in Texas, the people who are pro-life in Alabama, in Missouri, in Kentucky, in South Carolina, in various parts of the country, these people who are pro-life, who are not Latino, they see the handwriting on the wall. They see the handwriting. They see it, guys. They see the handwriting is on the wall. They got to get their numbers back. They got to get their numbers back. They got to get their numbers back. And this is part of the reason why you see these restrictions sweeping the states. They got to get their numbers back. There's a fear of a non-white America. A fear of a non-white America. And see, the thing about it is that many of the Latinos, they come here, they understand stuff that black people in this country have not yet understood. The Latinos understand something that black folks have not understood, and that is the power of numbers. Black folks have not understood the power of numbers. They have not. They have not. And it has hurt Afro Americans. It's hurt us politically. That's why you get taken advantage of. We don't understand the power of numbers, and we don't understand the power of organizing these numbers. And we don't understand, we have not understood over the last 30 to 40 some odd years the power of a team sport. The power of a team sport. Now, you have Latina people who get abortions, Latina women, they get abortions. They've been a part of the abortion outcomes in this country. But it has not affected them to the degree, in terms of numbers, as it has affected black people in America. And again, they understand organization. They have a long game. The men and women, they figure it out. They figure it out. They find a way to figure it out. But we haven't figured it out. We haven't figured it out. We haven't figured it out because we are fragmented. Because we have been sliced and diced as a population. And we have been infiltrated. And we have had forces of policy and gynocentrism that has internally destroyed us. And this is what makes our situation complicated. Because if you mess around and get someone pregnant, guys, if you mess around, y'all share, y'all like and subscribe, you mess around and get someone pregnant, you guys who are not married out here, and even you guys who are married, but most particularly you guys who are not married, if you mess around and get somebody pregnant, you know that there's a high probability whether you intended to have this child or not, that person is not going to work with you. There's a high probability that person is not going to want to be a team player. Y'all get the likes up. Get the likes up. Y'all share, subscribe. If you support this ism, hit the super chat, hit the cash app, $ BMI 3000, $ BMI 3000, guys. Thank you, R Jizzle. Thank you, R Jizzle, for that cash app. Thank you for that cash app, my brother. Thank you for that cash app, brother R Jizzle. Salute to you, my brother. If you get somebody pregnant, there's a high probability that person is not going to work with you. Whether the pregnant is, whether you planned it or you didn't plan it. But most of our stuff is unplanned. Let's just put it out here, guys. Most of the pregnancies that happen with Black people, and I'm just talking about Black people, there are unplanned pregnancies in other groups, in other populations, but we're talking about Black people. Most of the pregnancies in our group are unplanned. And when I look at that number, when you get a chance, I want you to Google the number of abortions that have happened within the Black population, mainly Black women, over the last 50 years. That number is going to blow your butt away. We're talking about tens of millions of babies aborted. Tens of millions of babies aborted over the decades. And you know what that tells me, guys? You know what that tells me, guys? And again, there are other groups. There are other groups who have unplanned pregnancies too. It's not just us. But disproportionately, there are more abortions in this country in the Black population than any other population in the United States. There are more abortions. Black women have more abortions than white women. And the white female population is much bigger than the Black female population. Black women have more abortions than Latina women. And their population is bigger than ours. There's a lot of unprotected sex going on. There's a lot of unprotected, unplanned sex that is going on. I want you to think about this, guys. I want you to think about this. The pill, the birth control pill. The birth control pill was introduced in 1960. The birth control pill. The birth control pill was introduced in 1960. Since the birth control pill, you've had a smorgasbord of contraceptive options. Since 1960, you've got the patch, you've got IUDs, you've got Plan B, you've got injections. There is not a health clinic in this country that does not offer free birth control. I'm not talking about abortions. I'm talking about birth control, the pill, the patch, all those things. Stuff that women take and consume. The only form of contraception that men have, number one, you have the condom. Your form of contraception, you have the condom, number one. Number two, you have the pull-out method, number two. And number three, you got celibacy. Celibacy. For men, condoms, the pull-out method, celibacy. Women have more artificial means of contraception and more available to them than men. Antoine Hook says vasectomy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's one. But that tends to be a last resort for a lot of folks. A vasectomy is one, but a vasectomy tends to be a last resort. And I'm going to be honest with you, vasectomies haven't always been popular with Black men. Vasectomies are now becoming increasingly more popular with Black men. I know Black men who have done it, Black men who are married and who have like 3 and 4 kids, and they've gone out and got vasectomies. So this is something that's kind of recent. But for vasectomies, for as long as, I would say within the last 30 or 40 years, mainly white dudes did the vasectomies. Birth control options have existed since 1960. Yet you have tens of millions of abortions, which means that there is a high level of recklessness. There is a high level of sexual recklessness on the part of men and women that we have to deal with. There's a high level of sexual recklessness. Now, here's the thing. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, it's not going to really change this sexual scenario unless people are deliberate about how they behave, men and women. But since this is a men's channel, since this is a men's channel, we got to deal with the behavior. You see, most men have no say. Most men have had no say over a woman getting rid of a child. No say whatsoever. You can't say anything about it. She does it without your consent, without even consulting you. And we know that babies create tensions, unplanned pregnancies create tensions between men and women. They create tensions. A lot of these women out here, they engage in misandry. They engage in the utter hatred of Black men because of this reckless sexual scenario. because they don't want to admit that if they engage in unprotected sex with a man under conventional situations, under normal conditions, without no force, without no coercion, they don't want to admit that they did it by consent. They don't want to admit that. They don't want to assume responsibility for being a participant in the sexual act. So the burden is placed primarily on the man, and it's not placed on the man and the woman. And a lot of vitriol and animus is directed towards men right now, and it's ongoing because of these contraceptive failures. And what I want to say to you guys is that the vitriol and the misandry is not going to cease if Roe v. Wade is overturned. It's not going to cease. The vitriol and the misandry, the hatred of Black men, will amplify and it will elevate if Roe v. Wade is overturned. And the babies come when you have not dealt with the recklessness. And you're dealing with unplanned pregnancies, and you're dealing with a population of people who have been socially engineered to be at war with one another. Thank you, Doberman. We appreciate you. Thank you, Doberman, for that. We appreciate you. Thank you for that contribution. So what I'm saying, guys, is that you don't have the cooperation. Here's the thing, guys. The bulk of us Black men, you don't have the cooperation that's necessary to raise a child with two parents when the other half has been culturally programmed to not see you as a viable parent, to not work with you. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is that if this thing is overturned, Black men are going to have to be more proactive. If this thing is overturned, if Black men, if you don't want to be caught up in the family court system, if you don't want to be caught up in the family court system, if you don't want to be on Mr. Palmer's channel talking about child support, a whole platform on child support, if you don't want to be talking about BMTs, that means that you got to be proactive. Because what's going to happen is that, see, they're not going to stop with Roe v. Wade. They're not going to stop with Roe v. Wade. This is just one thing. Because, see, one thing, what you have to understand about the Roe thing is that, see, Planned Parenthood is funded. Planned Parenthood gets funded. It's a nonprofit organization. It's a nonprofit. Planned Parenthood is a nonprofit organization. It gets funding from the state. They remove the funding, and they'll, destroy these organizations. But then they'll begin to go after other entities. They're going to go after the welfare stuff, all that stuff, the welfare, Medicaid, Medicare. And I know there are hardcore conservative dudes who are out here. There are hardcore conservative dudes out here who believe that the welfare state needs to be gutted, and I believe that the welfare state is a problem. But once they go after the welfare state, and if they're able to successfully eliminate the welfare state, you think that's going to be a boon to you. It might appear to be a boon to you, but only if you can take care of yourself, only if you can take care of your kids, if you can take care of children. But it's going to create a situation where it will place additional responsibilities on men and men's behavior. You see, you don't walk away scot-free. It will ramp up. It will ramp up. It might inflate child support and family courts. So what's important, guys, to be vigilant about how you behave in this world. The stream is called Stay Strapped. Stay strapped. Stay strapped. You're the only one who got sense. You're the only one who has sense to use protection. You're the only one. She has dozens of contraceptive options that you don't have. You don't walk away scot-free. And if you don't want unwanted kids, guys, if you don't want unwanted children, if you don't want unwanted pregnancies, you need to stay strapped. James Prince, back in the early 2000s, James Prince, the CEO of Rap-A-Lot Records. I want you to hear this. James Prince created, it doesn't exist, it didn't last long. He created a condom company. Jay Prince. Jay Prince created a condom company, and the company was called Stay Strapped. I don't know what happened to the company, but I know it was a short-lived condom company. He had Lil Wayne promoting it for a short period of time, and then it just disappeared. So here's the thing, guys. We are looking at, if Roe v. Wade is overturned, that means there's going to be other shifts in this country. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, it's going to require not only shifts in female behavior, but it's going to require shifts in male behavior as well. They're playing with the safety net. The safety net. They're removing the safety net. And if they remove the safety net, if they successfully remove the safety net, and these women out here to their own devices, they're going to need interventions, and they're going to be looking for interventions, and they're going to be looking. They're going to be looking to men to intervene on their behalf. They're going to be looking to you because they no longer have the safety nets. This is what the shifts means. And you're putting you're putting they're being placed. They're being placed. If this happens, that they're going to be placed in a state of nature where they're going to have to learn how to survive. And this right here is just the beginning. So you got to figure out how you're going to exist in this new situation, this new state of affairs. Are you going to continue to behave the way you have been behaving? That is men. Do black men continue to behave? 50 million babies, 50 million aborting babies says that people are reckless. That's what it says. Now, if every woman has a baby, if every woman has the baby from a man who's impregnated her, that's going to place great demands. A baby is a responsibility, guys. It's a responsibility. You know that. You guys are fathers. Some of you guys have 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids. Some of you guys, I mean, you guys are fathers. A lot of you guys are fathers. And you know that being a father is a responsibility. So I'm saying that you have some people who are praising this possible decision. I'm neutral. I'm neutral on it. I'm saying that it is a part of a shift that is tied to other things that we have to be on, that we have to watch. But you have to be smart. You got to be smart about this thing. Because if there is no reform, if there is no reform to the child support system, if there's no reform, if there's no transformation with the child support system as we know it, if there is no way, if there's no mechanism set up to deal with paternity fraud and these other things, this new situation will create new problems that we have not been conditioned for. And that's what I want to get at. It's going to create a new scenario that we have not been prepared to handle. And the reason why we have not been prepared to handle this is because of the vitriol and the misandry that we have been dealing with for the last 50 years. Stay strapped. You guys stay strapped. My problem with the population argument, so here's the thing. And I'm not a eugenicist. I don't believe in eugenics. It has been said, and Angela Stanton and others have said this, is that if we had more black people, we would be in a better position population-wise, and even politically. In theory, there is some truth to that. In theory, there is some truth to that. But here's the problem. That would only happen is when you have organization. When you're able to organize a population. When you're able to when you're able to have cooperation. That is when it happens, when you have cooperation. So here's the deal. You have to ask yourself the question, if 50 million black people are produced right now, if 50 million black people are produced right now through men and women, do black people have the organizational capacity? Do black people have the political acumen necessary, or the political sophistication that is needed to maximize everything that this additional population has to offer in terms of economics, politics, education, so on and so forth? So disorganization, and fragmentation is the fundamental impediment to reproduction. And I want you to hear me. I'm not against reproduction. I'm not against black people. I'm not, I don't position myself as a pro-choicer or whatever. But you got to be organized. And if you're not organized, if you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the superstructure, you need to think seriously about this stuff. If you are not ready to be a daddy, if you're not ready to go the distance, you need to put this thing off or not do it. And I hope young black men are listening. I hope young black men are listening. If you're not prepared for this, for procreation, you need to leave it alone. By choice. By choice. And I'm not talking about getting a vasectomy. I'm not talking about getting a vasectomy. So this is the point of the stream, guys. This is the point of the stream, is that the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the potential overturning of Roe v. Wade, is going to place an additional burden on men, not just women. But it will force, and I'm gonna end, it will force women to be more responsible. I'm gonna tell you that straight up. The overturning of Roe v. Wade will force women to be more responsible. The overturning of Roe v. Wade will force women, not just men, it will force women to be more responsible in terms of contraception. Not abortion, but contraception. We're talking about the pill, we're talking about the patch, we're talking about IUDs, we're talking about injections, all kinds of stuff. But this is the coming wave. The greatest fear right now that the liberals and feminists have is that this is setting up for a post-feminist America. That's the greatest fear, that this is setting things up for a post-feminist America. Now, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that feminism has done such a job on this country that much of its effects are irreversible. I really think so. And I've said this on this in so many ways in this live stream, that the effects of feminism are darn near irreversible. But the women are going to be forced to be more responsible. And that's going to carry over into other areas. Because once these conservatives, they will send it back to the states. They're going to send abortion back to the states. Once if they're successful with it, they pull funding from these nonprofits who do abortion services. They take away the ability of the state to pay for those services, and then they're going to start pulling funding from other places that have some relationship to the family and reproduction. That's what they're going to do. And once that money is taken away, the women who are going to be affected, they're going to be looking for a way to compensate. And that's you. That's you. That's you. You guys who keep on saying that you want women to come back to the table and come back to the table. You keep on saying you want her to come back to the table. Well, here's the deal. If and when she comes back to the table, she gonna come back to the table with her hands out. She gonna come back to the table with her hands out. If and when she comes back if it ever happens, she gonna come back to the table with her hands out. So do you really want to be? So do you really want to be that patriarchal male? Do you really want to be that male? You really want to be the patriarch? Do you really? Are you ready for it? You say you want to be the patriarch. Some of you guys, not everybody. Now, the last thing that I want to say about this. Now, the last thing that I want to say about this, since I'm talking about patriarchy, and I mentioned patriarchy, the last thing that I'm going to say about this is that this whole abortion situation with Roe v. Wade, it demolishes every feminist argument and idea that says that black men have real power in this country. It demolishes it. The Supreme Court, which consists mainly of men, represent patriarchy. The court system, the federal court system. This shift that is happening in this country right now, if this is a sign of things to come, if the overturning of Roe v. Wade is a sign of things to come, You cannot attribute that shift to the black male population. You cannot attribute the change to black men. This is patriarchy. What those conservatives are doing in Texas, led mainly by men, what they're doing in Mississippi and Alabama, mainly led by white men, what is happening at every level, at the state level, at the court level, the federal courts, and the Supreme Court, led mainly by men. So you got some female justices, still a male enterprise. Black men have nothing to do with this. We are watching the clear demonstration. We are watching a clear demonstration how power actually moves in this country. There is no way for these people to blame what's happening right now and what's about to happen right now on black men. Like they tried to blame Trump and the rise of Trump on us. They always find a way to blame us for something. But what you're seeing right now is a clear demonstration of white patriarchal power in the United States. And black men are nowhere near the level of power, organization, and finances that is shifting this country in a different direction. I'm telling you guys, you better stay strapped. You better stay strapped. If you want to maintain your BMI, your black male independence, you want to continue to have your agency, BMA. You want to continue to be empowered, BME. And if you want to be happy, BMH. You better stay strapped. You better keep that condom on. Keep the condom on, I'm telling you. If she has not had her tubes tied, if y'all haven't had that conversation, if those tubes are not tied, if she is not on birth control, any form of birth control, you need to have that conversation. If she's reluctant to get on birth control, you better do what you got to do. And I know that human beings are human beings. Human beings are human beings. Human beings are going to always procreate. Human beings are going to always have babies. Yes, that's the human race, unless there's some major nuclear fallout that would wipe everything out, human beings are going to continue to be here. They're going to continue to be here. But you still need to be disciplined. You still need to be disciplined. You older guys, are you dealing with these younger women? You're a guy who was my age, you in your 40s, and you're dealing with women who are under 35, who are still fertile. You better be smart. If you're dealing with women that are 25, between 25 and 35, you older guys who want a younger woman next to you who hasn't already had kids, unless you want to have kids and you're going to get married and you're going to take that risk, you better be strapped. You get your woman if you get you a woman that's had her tubes tied, you on point. Her tubes tied, she done had kids, she done had 2 kids, 3 kids. She shut the factory down. You can shoot the club up. You can shoot the club up all day long. But if that factory has not been shut down and it's still open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you better be smart. Well, listen, guys, this is all I wanted to say about this situation. I didn't plan on talking this long and being out here and what have you. I really do appreciate your support and you guys coming through. This is not the end of this situation. We're going to see more of this as we go forward. Y'all pay attention to the headlines. Because if this is really going to happen in June, if the Supreme Court is really going to overturn the situation, this is just a sign of things to come. It's one sign. I told you, these political conservatives, they have an entire playbook. And they want to change this culture. Y'all see the stuff, what's going on with the schools and critical race theory and what they're dealing with sexuality and LGBTQ and transgenderism and stuff like that. These people are not playing. They're not playing. Anyway, guys, this is the Mad Professor. You have been in tune to the Mad Professor broadcast. I appreciate you guys for all of your support. I enjoy communing with you, brothers. Long live Black men's independence. Long live Black men's agency. Long live Black men's empowerment. Long live Black men's happiness. I'm out of here, brothers. I will see you soon.